And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to a special address. This has to do with the flavor survey. So today I am joined by my co-host here, Demo Vapes.
Boy!
Try to take this seriously, man.
I know, but you gotta have a little bit of fun, right?
Yeah,
you gotta keep things a little bit interesting, a little bit of fun. Otherwise, people check out. So
I fully agree with that.
Yep.
We'll be going over different kind of strategies and things like that to kind of like talk about how we can not have this happen again, how we shouldn't have to push the agenda of vaping advocacy and how it should just be a thing.
Right.
So that we're going to kind of go over that as well today. But we will also be joined by some of our lovely vape stooges from the Vape Stew show. We'll get those guys on in a little bit here. Everyone has a couple of minutes just to basically tell their vaping story, and we'll go over a few things, discuss how flavors will affect them, or lack thereof, I should say. So we're gonna have some fun as well. We're gonna keep it light and not be too gloomy about it, but
Absolutely.
yeah,
it is something serious that we have to deal with, but at the same time, if you kind of present it as all doom and gloom to everybody, then it's sort of just nobody gets excited about it.
If you take it too seriously, then people will push back against it, going, "Oh, well, that's stupid.
Right.
It's boring."
Right. Absolutely. Oh, there we go.
So with that being said, what are you vaping on, Demo?
Well, I'll tell you in a second here, real quick. All right. So today I've got two things with me. I've got my let's see here. I've got my Copper Dreamer with the titanium redemption up top, and this has inside of it, I'm rocking some of this Dark Horse by Adore e-liquid. Just got this the other day, and I'm not so sure what I think about it yet. It's an interesting. It's sort of like a white chocolate vanilla mint kind of vape, and it's very delicious, and it doesn't have any of that dusty cocoa, crap that we're used to in chocolate vapes, sometimes anyway. And Soren Drop with it's a blue lemonade flavor, and I don't remember what brand it is right off the top of my head.
Mr. Salty?
Nope, it's not Mr. Salty. It's I think it's Salty Man, or it's the one with it's the one with the little salt guy on the front of it.
Okay, I don't know. That's like every one of them nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of their branding. It's not. I don't think it's way over the line or anything, but it's
anything with eyes, a mouth, or arms is over the line for me personally.
All right, that's fair.
It's I kind of go halfway between what the industry thinks and what is it? Washington State, is it, or is it Oregon? Can't remember. They have the strictest labeling rules. You can't have any celebrities living or dead on there. You can't have any animals. You can't have pictures showing your product being used. There's like some of the strictest labeling laws out there in the what is it, Pacific Northwest? Yeah. I forget which state it is, but yeah, there's one of them that's like extremely strict about that kind of stuff. But yeah. So that's what you are vaping on currently? Let's see.
That is it. I did bring this up with me because my battery's dying, so I needed my I needed a regulated mod. So I was like, well, I'll just going on Nick's channel, so I'll probably grab the Daily Vape TV my personalized DNA 250 mod.
I wish it was engraved, man.
I know, right?
I'll send you the file if you want.
I don't know. I might have Demo Vapes engraved on it.
Fair enough. All right.
Well, I might do Demo Vapes on this side and then leave the sticker. I don't know.
Whatevs. I would not be offended. All right. I would not be offended.
Make a Vape Stew mod.
There you go. So I've got the Defiant Designs TS with the Templar RDA on top of there, with a gorgeous DHD color changing nub tip. And in there I've got my own Blaz Peach as per usual. I mean, I've been rocking this stuff for literally since it came out, like every single day, and I do not get tired of it. And good call on the extra bottles. I really like how the purple looks in there, dude. Purple. You have the DS or the TS?
I have both. So I have a purple. Well, so I have a purple DS. I have a brushed DS and a black TS because I love the mod. So I tend to collect. When I find something that I like, I tend to buy all the colors and stuff like that because I want to be able to, mix and match with what I'm wearing or whatnot. Whatever you feel like doing, whatever your matchy game is. Stan wants to be a moderator so that way he can.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Post links and stuff.
Yeah, Stan, if you could occasionally just post, let me make you a moderator. There you go. You have been officially wrenched. Yeah, Stan, if you want to just occasionally just pop that link into chat, every like 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, welcome everybody. I also have a couple more setups. I have the HPriv 2 charging right now, as you can see. With the Reza Prince tank on top. It's actually good.
Is it?
I really don't mind it. I mean, the mod is nothing special, but the Reza Prince tank, the flavor is pretty damn good on it. Actually, it's done charging. Hey, there you go. Let's unlock it. Flavor's on point.
Cool.
I really do like it. I can see what all the fuss is about. Let's put it that way. In there, I've got some Sandy by our Vape Stew sponsor, Silverback E-Liquid or E-Juice.
Lovely.
Silverback Juice Co. That's what it is. I always get confused.
As you can see right here on my,
oh yeah.
I'll do a little Vanna White thing.
And last but not least, we have the baby mag kit. This little tiny baby mag kit here. And
I kind of hate those the mag things just because I think they just
it's way too small for me. Way too small for me.
But even the mag thing, I'm just like, you don't need to make your mod look like a gun handle. Like, I get that it's catchy and I'm sure that it sells well, but it's I don't know.
It's been around for a while now. I'm talking like 3-4 years, probably that whole trend. I would say.
Well, let me put it this way: a friend of mine got one. He has kids. And I asked his son, I said, out of all of your dad's vapes, what do you think is the coolest one? Right. And he goes, that one. And he points to his dad's, the mag kit in his hand. And I was like, that's it. That's all you need to know. And
not to mention the fact that they have them looking like rainbow bright too,
all right.
With crazy colors and everything.
Right.
Not that that's a big thing. I mean, obviously you want to be able to personalize your setup, and that's kind of like a semi-transition here, dealing with the idea of personalization. Everybody's different. If we all had to vape off of stick batteries with Cardos using tobacco-flavored e-liquid, that would just suck. No one would ever quit smoking because it just there's not enough of a choice.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this industry. We can customize our mod, our topper, our drip tip, our juice, our color scheme, everything. We can customize everything about our setup.
Right.
And, there's thousands of flavors of e-liquid out there for now.
That mint sometimes gets me.
Is it like a menthol-y mint?
Nope, not at all. But it's just like, it just, for me, excuse me. This is
while Demo dies.
All right, I got a tickle. You get that every now and again, right? Like you'll be taking a normal, you'll just be vaping, and then all of a sudden you'll take a rip and you'll just be like, and it'll just like make you cough for no reason at all. That happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, a couple times, yeah, every now and then. They want the link in the Discord server. There's also the link in the description already, for anyone that would like that. But yeah, I'm sure someone posted it in Discord. No.
I have no doubt.
Maybe not. All right. So yeah, that kind of brings us to our topic at hand here. And I guess we should tell our own stories, I suppose. Would you care to start us off, Demo?
I'd be happy to start.
All right.
So I started smoking when I was about 23 or 24. And so I'm kind of a I don't know, an outlier to the general recipe, which most people start when they're in their teenage years, you know, before they're done with high school or even before they get to high school in certain cases. And so I started when I was about 23, 24, and a little bit of backstory about what, you know, what I went through and stuff like that. When I was 21 years old, I woke up one morning the day after Cinco de Mayo, and I was hungover and, you know, just like feeling like crap. And I had a text message from my dad, and he said, your mom's in the hospital. You need to come home. And I said, is she okay? And he said, I don't know. And so we got to the hospital, and I found out that my mom had had a pulmonary embolism the night before. And essentially she was on life support, but had no brain function or anything left to go. So we had to make the difficult decision of saying goodbye to my mom and, you know, turning off the machines. So over the next couple of years, you know, I was 21, and my dad was very sick at the time that this all happened. He had liver disease, and he was doing okay at that time physically. But when my mom passed away, my dad started drinking again, and that essentially pushed him over the edge. And 2 years later, he died from liver disease. And so I was 23 with no family here. And I had friends, but I had no family and, you know, whatnot. And I was stressed as hell dealing with estates of two people and whatnot. And so I started smoking. And, you know, I was on a couple medicines at the time for depression and whatnot, anxiety. And I don't know what it was about those meds, but they just made nicotine like so good. Right. And, you know, so I started smoking, and I went from, you know, 2-3 cigarettes a day to a pack a day in about 3 weeks. And about 2 years, maybe 2 years later, in, you know, kind of around the fall of 2016, I was like, you know what, I'm done with smoking. I've only been doing it for a couple of years, but I got to stop. And so I don't want this to take hold of me. Right. So I called up a friend and said, you know, I'm interested in trying vaping. Right. And he told me to go to a shop, and I went to the shop and picked up a setup, and you know, now I'm here. So it's like, it's interesting. But, you know, as far as what kept me off of the cigarettes, it was definitely the flavors. Being able to sit inside in the dead of winter, not have to go outside, and being able to vape something that is so, you know, delicious compared to a cigarette. You know, I remember on my last, it took me like 4 days to quit, right? And on my last day, I smoked like a third of a cigarette, and I was just like, by the end, I was like, and I just like tossed it out, nasty, you know, and I went back inside and hit my vape, and that was that. I didn't look back since. And I've I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted from time to time. You know, every now and again, it always is the worst when I see someone on TV or in a movie smoking a cigarette, and they sit there and they take that puff and they blow it out, and I'm just like, oh man, that looks good, you know. But I would never go back, because, you know, I found something that is far better, far more interesting, and, you know, something that ultimately saved me from probably a lifetime of smoking. Right. So it would have been like, if I hadn't, you know, if I hadn't had something that was as, I don't want to say easy, but it was a lot easier than anything else that I tried. So, you know, it was so much more similar. So yeah, I guess that's my smoking story. And I smoked a little bit in college from time to time, off and on, but, you know, it was mostly like bumming cigarettes from friends' packs and whatnot. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think there's like a multi-stage kind of level of like quitting, right? So you have your people that are dedicated, ready to quit, and it's easiest for them. I personally was ready to quit, and I'll explain when I tell my story in a minute here. But then you have the people that are kind of like, kind of wishy-washy on the whole thing, and just go, well, I mean, my parents want me to quit, my girlfriend wants me to quit, or what have you. And then you have your people that are just not really willing to accept anything else, not willing to accept change. And
well, a lot of them just love smoking.
Yeah.
You know? And I did too. And that's ultimately why I started vaping. Was like, I was like, I want to quit, but I don't want to stop smoking. Like, I love smoking. It was a stress reliever. I could go outside, take a breath of fresh air. And I do miss that. I still go vape outside sometimes, just because it's like nice, and, you know, it's a nice day. But like, you know, today it's 70 degrees outside, which I'm like, You know, but anyway, yeah, no, I mean, like, you don't want to quit, right? Like, but I was like, I know I have to quit, because if I don't, I'll be, you know, sitting in my doctor's office at 45, having him tell me, be like, well, if you don't quit, you're gonna die. You know, like, I didn't want to deal with that, so I quit.
Right. So I guess I should tell you guys my vaping story. I don't I've told it kind of like briefly before, like a way long time ago, but I kind of here, I'll present myself so Demo gets a break. I looked at the app today since I quit. I have this app on my phone called Since I Quit, and it's literally just a timer that ticks from a moment you set something, and I have it set to from when I quit smoking. And it's been 6 years, 5 months, a week, 5 days, 18 hours, 16 minutes, and 58 seconds. And it can show you how much money you saved.
Yeah, whatever.
By not smoking 47,096 cigarettes, I've saved myself $16,000, 16,483, like $16,483. That's pretty crazy to me.
Now,
like,
here's the real question though. If how much do you think you've spent on vape gear in the last 6 years?
not $16,000. Tell you that much.
And YouTube camera stuff and all that kind of stuff like that. You think about, I mean, that doesn't really go into it, but you know,
still not $16,000.
No, not 16 grand.
I wouldn't put that into the same category, because if I wasn't doing vaping on YouTube, I probably would have been doing something else on YouTube.
Okay.
Just because it was just kind of piqued my curiosity. Now, with that being said, I started smoking one night. My parents went out of town and I had a party. Yep. And that night I had probably 20, 30 people over my house, and we were having a good time. I was 16 years old. Yeah, I was a bad kid. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But let me preface this by saying that no one in my family smokes, period. My aunt was the only smoker that I ever knew growing up, and no one else in my family smokes. So for me, it was a big, just kind of like, it wasn't even a thing. You know, no one would even like think of talking about tobacco or nicotine or anything like that. They said it briefly in school, but it was mostly DARE, which is like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So I had a party. A friend of mine had a cigarette, so I bummed one. I don't know why. I was like, let me try that, and I bummed one off of him, and I didn't even know how to inhale. I was like that naive. So I was just like puffing on the thing. He's like, no, man, you have to like breathe it in. So I was like, I had my first drag and I felt that like sensation, and it was intense, and it was like something so foreign to me. And from that moment, I was basically a smoker. I mean, I was a habitual smoker within the next 6 months or so, I'd say, because I would just bum them and bum them and bum them. And my friends got tired of me bumming them. So I would actually have them go out and buy me packs. And that next thing you know, it was a couple cigarettes a day, half a pack a day, 3/4 a pack a day, and pack a day. At the worst, it got up to about pack and a half a day. And yeah. I couldn't afford it. You know, now like we're talking 4 or 5 years into my smoking habit, I couldn't even afford smoking. So I would buy the cheap cigarettes at the gas stations, you know, the $5 packs or whatever, when there were, you know, $7, $8 a pack here. And then after that, I still couldn't afford it. So I would roll my own. So I rolled my own, and I felt like such a dirtbag doing it, because here I am sitting at the kitchen table over my friend's house because his mom had the cigarette rolling machine, and that was like the smoker house because his parents smoked. So I got away with it by going over there and just heaving them down. So I would go over there and roll myself some cigarettes in trade for rolling his mom some cigarettes. So I'd roll myself a pack and I'd roll her a couple of packs, and then I'd go upstairs and smoke cigarettes and play video games. And I was a pretty avid skateboarder in my youth. I mean, I got the skateboard tattooed on my wrist. So I was a skater from when I was like 13 until I was about 23, 24. and I was smoking the whole time, pretty much. After that first one, and I started to notice that it was like really like dragging me down because I couldn't breathe anymore. When we were real young, we used to skate everywhere before we had cars. Then we got cars and we got lazy and we drove to the skate park. And after that, it was just like we just sat in the room playing video games, like Skate 3 or whatever. So
you get back from the skate park, you put in Tony Hawk, and then you're good to go.
Pretty much.
That's your life.
Pretty much.
That was me when I was a kid too. I skated for a little bit.
Nice. So, I mean, after that, it was I kind of like let skateboarding go by the wayside. Real life kicked in, and I got full-time jobs and whatnot. And I noticed that I just was waking up to a heavy chest and like a nagging cough, So I decided it was time to quit. I'll be honest with you, it was a girlfriend that kind of pushed me into doing it. She said, "All right, I'm quitting, so you're quitting." I'm just like, okay. Was not really ready for it, but I was willing to accept that kind of challenge. So I got my first kit 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago now. And from that day, like when I first got it in, I was at my house with my parents, and my parents knew I smoked. They really did not like it. So they were kind of more accepting of the fact that I was going to try this to quit. So I have it in my hands, and my dad is really curious about it. So I'm putting it all together, and I set it up, and I have my first vape. And that's when I knew that first vape right there. I was like, found it. This is it. This is what's going to get me to quit smoking, because I had to find a way to replace my nicotine, and I was doing menthols at the same time. So so I had menthol liquid. And it was good. But I also bought fruit punch liquid, and I noticed that I was mixing my fruit punch liquid with my menthol liquid, and I was like, this is amazing. I can do all this crazy stuff with flavors, still get my menthol, still get my nicotine, and it feels and looks and everything like that, like smoking. And it was just awesome. And from that day forward, I basically dedicated my entire life to pushing this industry as far as it can go, and making, trying to get everyone to do what I did and quit smoking and live a better lifestyle. So, and here we are 6.5 years later. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
There we go. Can you give me a wrench?
Yeah, you got a wrench.
I don't, but that's okay.
Unless you
added. Oh, you just did. Oh, okay. Now I do. Yep, you're right. It hadn't refreshed yet. Well, cool. I mean, like that's the thing. Stan asked a good question up here. He said, "Did you start with tobacco flavors?" I'm assuming is what you mean. Did you start with tobacco flavors? If so, why don't you still use it? Were flavors necessary for your transition? For me, I did not start with tobacco flavors. I wanted nothing to do with the flavor anymore, right? Like I was just like, I'm gonna try all this delicious stuff because, like, if I can, why not? And so for me, tobacco flavoring wasn't even necessary. Now, that said, I know quite a few people who have quit smoking with vaping and definitely needed the tobacco flavors. It actually took me a while to get into tobacco flavored vapes after I was done smoking, and now I like them as long as it's a good tobacco flavor. But I do think that flavors were absolutely necessary for my transition. I don't think I would have stuck with it if I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is delicious, But
that's the thing. We're not discouraging people that vape tobacco flavors from taking the survey. We need that data too. This is data entry here. This is like they're logging data. They want to see what the percentages are of tobacco flavored vapors versus other flavored vapors. And they want to see how things change from the time you quit smoking to where you are now. And they want to just kind of like graph and chart all this information so that they can present it to the FDA in a scientific way. And as of right now, it's the last day. This is the last day that you're going to be able to complete this survey.
Yep.
So if you haven't done it already, get it done.
Is there a way to like see the live count of
1 second?
Oh, okay. Well, Nick is gonna go take. Oh, geez, Nick. We got Nick's butt crack, everybody.
Did you really just see my butt crack?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Woo!
Oh
You
Jesus!
stood up and I was like, plumber crack. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, I had to let the cat out.
Had to save it. Had to say it. Anyway, is there a live counter that we can see what like how many we need left?
I don't. It's okay. So here's the thing: we have a goal set at 30,000. Right. That's the minimum goal. So, with that being said, that number needs to be exceeded tenfold. You know,
Ideally, yeah.
I can't even believe that we're here today talking about struggling to get up to 30,000, and that's kind of what I've been harping on in the Vape Stew group and on Instagram and Facebook and all over the place. I've been kind of just ragging on people because it's like, okay, you have these vape groups out there, these massive vape groups that have tens of thousands of people in them, and we can't get 30,000 for a survey that takes no more than 15 minutes.
Right.
How?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
By the way, Stan, I just clicked on that link and it says an error has occurred, and it doesn't let me show. It doesn't show me the page.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know. You might want to take that big link and use like a bit.ly, like a link shortener to put it in chat.
If he's copying and pasting what's in the description, it's not going to work because it's a longer link, and and YouTube automatically shortens it.
Yeah, use like bit.ly or something to shorten it.
You have to click it and then copy the URL bar and then paste it.
No, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, no, I mean, I think it's ridiculous that we have to pull teeth to get 30,000 people to do this survey. Like there are millions of people in the United States who vape. There are, as you said, there are groups with tens of thousands of people, and I know a lot of those people are in multiple groups, but still there are well over 30,000 people online who vape, obviously, that are, that could easily do this. And I think that the fact that we've seen so little from some of the big YouTubers, we've seen a lot from some YouTubers, but we've seen not a whole lot from, like even Rip Trippers doesn't give a damn anymore. I'm sorry, I probably keep my language cleaner, but
no. There's a time and a place for appropriate language, but I don't know. I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I'm just so mad that we can't hit our goal.
I mean, even yesterday I was like, I genuinely believe that, we as a community can rally and come together. And so yesterday I posted on my Instagram, that if we got to our goal, I would donate $1,000 to CASA, because, and the fact that I even felt that I needed to do that is sad, but you know what I mean? Either way, it's going to be, it'll be good. So I'm really hoping that, we can get some of these signatures, man. I mean, like, if everyone just did it right now, we would smash the goal, and I'm sure everybody watching here who is in the United States, has done it. I hope so.
Right. So here's the thing. X1 in chat right now, if you've done the survey.
Right. Apparently Vape Ian says Road Trippers did post about it on Instagram. Well, okay.
Once.
I mean, once. But like
yesterday,
his Instagram is what, like hundreds. It doesn't have. It's some fraction of a number that his YouTube has.
Right. He has over 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And like you said, Demo, people are in multiple groups, but even if they are one group, there's a couple of groups that I know that have over 30,000 members.
Yeah.
And we can't get everyone to take a 15-minute survey.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I think it boils down to a lot of people just don't have that kind of attention span. You want to talk about a petition, right? If people sign a petition, you just have to put a name and an email, right? Simple. But
those petitions don't do anything. This is an actual FDA software. They're using FDA software that they purchased for this flavor survey, and this is not just a normal X1, or it's not a normal little sign here kind of thing.
No,
because it's actually going to make a difference. And Ken says you could text CASA flavors to 52866 and they'll send you the link. Right. Easy as that. It can't get any easier, you know.
No.
If there's so many people out there that are pushing super hard for it, you know, I see a lot of people like on Instagram, Vinyl and Vapor really sticks out in my mind because he's been doing like his illustrations and having a little text above it. He's been pushing really hard. Mike Vapes, his entire feed has been filled with nothing but the survey posts for like a couple of days now. And I mean, he's been pushing before that. Wait, I said 52866. What did I say? Oh man, it's
52886.
52886. Okay, my bad.
Yep, you're bad.
I am dyslexic apparently.
No, that's the other Nick.
But you know, we have like, you know, you've been posting about it too, Demo, and you know, you're willing to donate $1,000 for advocacy. And
well, I try to, first of all, you know, like I'm doing this now because I think now's the good time. But I always, every year, I try to donate at least a decent amount to advocacy. And you know, I was like, well, let's make this year's donation now, and you know, we'll do it as long as we can get the 30,000 signatures. You know, so
I'm pretty sure we hit the number. Just saying, I'm pretty sure. I haven't had an update. I'm kind of periodically checking on Dimitri's page here, the Vaping Greek, and there hasn't really been a numerical update about it. But let's see. I'm trying to find if he posted anything. I don't think so. But yeah, he just said he likes what he's seeing. Keep it up, and that was earlier today, I think. Posted that. Let's see. 5 hours ago. Yeah.
Well, there we go.
So that's good. And then he also posted that the survey ends Tuesday night, midnight Eastern Standard Time. And I'm assuming that's tomorrow night?
Well, no. So no, it's tonight because Tuesday at midnight, 12 a.m. will be
12
Tuesday.
12 a.m. is Tuesday. Okay, yeah. So yeah,
that'll be tonight.
We're literally down to the wire here. We really need to get things moving. So and don't think that anything that anyone out there watching does is not noticed, because it is. You know, even if you connect with one extra person that will take that survey, that one extra person didn't know about the things that are going on beforehand. So it's important, you know, it's really important that we get this done. And, you know, and this is not the end of the fight either. This is not your good deed for the year and just move on. After this, we have to start pushing even harder for the comments period for the FDA flavors, the actual like flavor ban that the FDA, the survey that they're conducting. You have to submit your comments, and it's just basically open forum style, so you could just type whatever you want in there.
Absolutely.
And you better believe that everyone who's fighting this hard right now is going to fight even harder for the next couple of months for that, during that comment period. And it's already been going on for the past month now. So that's why we really need to get it done.
Right. Absolutely. No, I mean, it's the fight doesn't end here. Someone asked in chat, let's see, it was Jay Shima asked, what is the significance of 30,000? Who came up with that number and why? I would be lying if I told you that I actually knew why that, that number is a thing.
30,000 is basically the bottom end of the number that it takes to be even taken seriously as far as these numbers. You know, in order to chart and graph all this data, they need at least that amount to have a significant sample size, for their data. And it's crazy that we can't hit this number. I mean, if you ask me, and if you ask me if I was surprised, I'd say no. And that's really sad.
Right.
But
it's a product of the world we live in today, you know, where apathy is the number one you know, thing these days. People are like, well, nah, I don't need to do that. You know, it's like, no,
someone else will fight for me.
Someone else will fight for me. You know, and the reality is that, yeah, someone else can fight for you if you pay them, right? You know what I mean? And the only, you know, like the only way that people can be paid is by donations and stuff like that. So yes, it ultimately does come back to every vapor out there to do their part, you know, and you know, I'm a huge fan of the Kevin Skipper, Grim Green. You don't have to do anything, but you don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something, right? And you know, this is if there's two of the things that are the some things, it's this and the comment period.
And
those
I mean,
are the two things that
these are the
really got to do right now.
These are the current national fights, nevertheless the local fights, because we have to basically advocate on 3 different levels.
Yeah,
you have nationally, then you have stateside, and then you also have town, city, whatever advocacy as well. Because certain places, for instance, in my home state of Massachusetts, Worcester is planning on doing a flavor ban. Now, before you really get into it, you have to know that it's a flavor ban for let me get the wording right here. You have to, in order to sell vape flavored e-liquids, you have to be a permit holder. Now, in Massachusetts, in a lot of towns, you need to be registered as a tobacco seller in order to sell e-liquids. And that might not actually be a bad thing, because it would stop certain stores from selling flavored e-liquids. So, I mean, it can kind of be a good thing in the vape industry's favor. But at the same time, it's just one more stupid law that's being enacted. And it's like, it shouldn't even have to be a thing. But
yeah,
it's the world we live in nowadays.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you have to fight on every different level. And it's important. And CASA is a really good resource for that information, because they have state advocacy like information. If something's going on in your state, then they'll alert you of it. And that you can sign up for emails and stuff too. So if there's like something going on where they need you to call to action where you have to go and do something, then they're the best place, in my opinion. And if you're going to support anyone in advocacy, CASA would be my first choice, personally. But
absolutely, they keep us all on top of everything that we need to know, and that's important, because it allows us to then mobilize our forces, so to speak, and you know, get to town hall meetings and city council meetings, and you know, state senate hearings and stuff like that allow us to then make our case and present to the people who actually get to make the decisions. So, you know, I mean, among many other things that CASA does, they're extremely important to us.
Exactly.
And JBC is the best. And, you know, Jennifer Berger Coleman.
Oh, dude. She is a big time fighter for this industry, and she loves Blaz.
Blaz!
No, JBC, she is amazing. She works tirelessly for the vaping industry. Stefan Didek as well, from Not Blowing Smoke. I mean, he's mostly concerned about California, but we need those people as well. I mean, yeah, he does have an eye on what's going on nationally, and he does care about what's going on nationally, but he is heavily focused on California, because California is one of the most strictest states when it comes to vaping laws. I mean, we have our flavor ban in San Francisco going on, and I mean, that's already a thing, and you better believe they're going to try to push that all the way across the country and get that to be everywhere. So, I mean, you got to just keep fighting.
Yeah, pushing false data to say how effective it's been and all this kind of stuff like that. You know, it's just, man, you know, I have a tough time talking about this stuff without it tripping my trigger a little bit, you know, because it's just like, you know, it's so irritating. I was in California the other day for a family thing, and I was talking to the brother of one of my cousins, and which I guess would make him my cousin too. Yeah. I guess. Anyway, and he was talking to me, and he asked me, you know, what's in e-liquid and all this kind of stuff. And I read off the ingredients, and he's like, well, you know, propylene glycol is really bad for you. And I was like,
oh yeah, how?
I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. Like, it's a family thing, you know what I mean? But like, you know, I was just like, wow, you know, it's just the misinformation is so strong still, and makes me sad.
And that's what's that?
I said it makes me sad.
Oh yeah, it's funny because like, okay, so like, you know how I said it when I was talking about my story,
Yeah,
my dad was really interested in the whole vaping thing. Now,
sure.
my dad never smoked a day in his life, never cared about it, never thought he would ever even know about vaping or anything. So I said, you know, I always kind of kept him in the loop when I had stuff going on. And I was like, oh, I got a new thing. He's like, oh, what does it do? And I would tell him. And he's like, so what is this thing? What is this thing? And he was always just asking me about my hardware and the juice and everything like that.
Yeah.
And he became like a big time supporter of mine, especially when I started my YouTube channel. He was like basically my number one fan. But yeah, actually, Stan just brought up a good point, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yep.
But yeah, my dad was always interested in it, and he was always just kind of like curious as to why there was pushback against it. He's like, this is such a good thing. Why are people trying to take it away? And I'm like, well, if you think about it, you know, it has to do with the government's money because the government has a hand in the tobacco growing process. They subsidize farming of tobacco. Not only that, Big Pharma pumps millions of dollars into the government to help them get their drugs passed through. I mean,
Well, yeah.
This is a tinfoil hat moment, but you know.
Well, they also have their own, you know, process or their own products that they're trying to sell. You know, so it is in their best interest to demonize us as much as possible. You know, that oh, you should be trying the FDA approved safer method to quit. You know, and it's like
that may cause death.
That may cause death. You know, like if we're talking about, you know, Shantix and stuff like that. But you know, like patches, man, I have known a handful of smokers, maybe more than a handful of smokers who've tried the patches. Doesn't work. You know, like you just don't get that hand to mouth habit thing, you know, that really I think is actually, you know, and it, you know, if you're up and up on like the science behind nicotine addiction and tobacco addiction, it's not as much about the nicotine as it is about the habit and the psychological addiction you form to your cigarettes, you know, and you spend years of your life, you know, every hour or so going outside for your cigarette, you know, or more, right? It becomes a really big habit. So you got to be able to quit with something that kind of allows you to continue that habit. And so, you know, that was the other one that my family brought up to me. They're like, "Oh, well, you're not really quitting, right?" You're like, it's not. And I was just like, "Yeah, I am." Like, God, you know, like
I mean, it's so hard because so many people are so stubborn in their beliefs that you can't convince them that this is not smoke. They'd say, "Oh, you're gonna go smoke your vape or something like that." I'm just like. Just gives me a headache.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, Mike Vapes is here. Mike Vapes, I gave you a little shout out earlier for all you're doing right now on your Instagram. Thank you for that, by the way. And keep it up too. You know, we still have a few more hours left. Let's get those last couple of surveys in. But yeah, I never tried the patches, the gum, the pills, nothing like that because I knew for a fact it wasn't going to work. I said I would highly prefer having a cigarette between my fingers than just sticking a patch on my arm and just kind of sitting there.
And there's also an element to that as well that, you know, if you're not going to be excited about something or you're not going to be like confident that your choice is going to work, then it's not going to work. It doesn't, I mean, that is even the case with e-cigarettes, right? Like if you're not interested in quitting, this is what we're going back to what we were talking about earlier. If you're not interested in quitting, you're not going to quit. Like you got to be ready to do that. But, you know, having it be easier and more accessible is absolutely necessary. And now that we've got these, you know, awesome pod systems and stuff that are just they make so much more sense for so many smokers trying to quit. And, you know, for everybody that doesn't like pod systems, they do work. You know, and they do get people off the cigarettes. So
right. And actually, I mean, that's kind of like what I was kind of going on. Okay, Michelle says she can come on. Yeah, let's see if anyone else wants to come on. I just got a couple of emails actually that I wanted to talk about real quick. First one was from Beyond Vape. They actually sent out an email blast that. About the survey. It's a clickable link that takes you to the survey, which is kind of nice. I like that. And so many other companies are completely ignoring this. All you see on Instagram is hand checks and juice and all that stuff, and you don't see a word about advocacy, which is really concerning to me
Right.
because you're talking massive companies that have a lot of business in the States and they are doing nothing to protect themselves or their customers for that matter.
Right, absolutely. Stan is over here. Stan can't resist, you know, kind of running the show, even though he's not in the show.
Yeah, if Stan, maybe if you were on, you know, we would listen to you a little bit more. But
No, you're right. The Nick level, you know, Nick
yeah.
level definitely does matter. I mean, I started when I first started, and you know, this was at the end of 2016, and I was new to the industry, and so you know, I don't exactly remember what was on the market when I started vaping, but you know, completely. But you know, pod systems were in their infancy, you know, the way they are now, anyway, and you know, so I got a sub-ohm tank and a mod when I first, you know, quit, and I was vaping 12 milligram out of my sub-ohm tank, you know, and I needed it, right, and it was terrible, harsh, you know, all that kind of stuff, but it was necessary. But now we're, you know, in this world that we have these 25, 30, 50, 60 milligram, you know, salt concentrations that are just, they just have that punch that you need, you know, when you're first quitting.
I started off with 18 milligram nicotine liquid, and for me, that did it because it gave me the throat hit that I wanted. Granted, it was out of a basic 510 battery, like the Cigalite kind of ones. So at the time, that was kind of like status quo. I mean, I've had people vape 32.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it, but but yeah, some people out there started with super high nicotine strengths. You're talking regular nicotine at 32 is like the equivalent of like 60 in nic salts. So you're talking pretty high strength nicotine stuff. But yeah, I started with 18 because I was only about a pack and a half a day smoker. I figured 24 was for the 2-pack a day smokers. But as far as I'm concerned, like 18 just did it for me. It got me off cigarettes right away, and I just stuck with it. You know, I had my times when I like forgot to charge my battery, or I left my juice at home or something and ran out midday, and I really struggled for the first couple of months. But once I kind of like got the flow going, I was just understanding like what I needed for the day, what I could, you know, pack with me to survive, and you know, upgraded my gear a little bit. So it's a little bit difficult when you're first getting going, but that's why I love the fact that there's so many brick and mortar shops out there nowadays that can help. You know, you can call your local vape store and ask them a question about the device you purchased there, and they'll be more than willing to help you out, or stop in, they'll change your coil for you. But imagine, you know, back in the day when I first started, there was no vape shops at all. Absolutely. So I had to do everything on my own. I relied heavily on the YouTubers that were out there at the time for my information, for my tips and tricks and everything. So I was on YouTube constantly.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I struggled, you know, I feel like everyone struggles, but with the support of, I mean, if you have friends that vape, that's even better, because then you have like your little support circle.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and that's the tough thing, right? Like, it's like, you know, when I first started vaping, I was not even aware of any sort of community. You know what I mean? Like, it was like I walked into the shop and I walked out and I had a mod and I was like, well, I've got like one friend that I know who vapes, you know? So it's like, and I had more friends than I knew or that I realized, right? But, you know, at that time I was like, I felt super alone, you know, in this vaping thing, but it was fine. You know, I just sat on my couch, and it was very helpful that it was in the middle of December in Minnesota. And that was like, well, I could go outside and smoke, or and you know, it's -10, or I could sit in my house with my dog watching TV and just vape right here on the couch. And you know, my fiance was absolutely supportive, and she was like, I don't care if you vape inside the house. And I was like, all right, green light, jackpot, like, let's do it, you know. And you know, now she vapes now, you know. But so that's the thing, right? She vapes now, and she did not smoke prior. However, she's told me multiple times that if I had probably not started vaping, she might have started smoking along with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and then I don't know. So she kind of used vapor to, you know, preventative in addition to, you know, she was just curious about trying the stuff, you know. So
I mean, I've had a few people like that, right? I've had a few people come into the shop that want to vape because their friends all vape and they want to do it as well, but they'll do it in zero. You know, they
Right.
do it in zero and, you know, just vape socially because they kind of want to, I hate to use the word fit in, but it's kind of that like,
Yeah.
that social aspect. And that's kind of like all this stuff like nicotine strength and the flavors that you use at the beginning versus the flavors you use now. That's all in the survey. They actually take down that information. So I'm actually
Absolutely.
curious to see the results. You know, I'd really love to see this information kind of displayed in a different format, you know, like a chart or a graph or something like that to show me percentages of how many people use what type of flavors. But yeah, actually, let's go bring Michelle in real quick. Michelle
Absolutely.
Lynn from Dull Dime Mods would like to tell her vaping story. And if any of the Stooges watching right now want to come on, you're more than welcome to. Just go over to the Discord, go over to the Discord server, and shoot me a direct message, and we'll bring you in. But
Absolutely.
these are all things that the flavor survey touches on, and it's
Right.
I like because I wouldn't have normally thought of something like that. You know, you don't think of that on a day-to-day basis. You think, you know, just vaping to survive essentially. But I like hearing what other people have to say. I like hearing other people's vape stories. Get Sherlock on. I don't know if Sherlock's around. Hey,
Yeah, I don't
Michelle
know.
is here. All right, Clown wants to come on
Michelle.
too. Clown will be on after Michelle because Michelle has to go sooner. So
Michelle, it's a lot brighter in your room there than it normally is.
It's daytime. What can I say?
Right, absolutely.
And I'm more of a vampire, so
I feel you.
I'm sorry I'm a little hyper right now just because I like ran to get home and get online with you guys. So I apologize.
Well, thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, you can actually see some of my vape stuff is behind me.
There you go. I see a Pulse BF.
Yeah, that's up there. Yeah, it's the only one that I didn't take apart and use parts from. Anyway,
the floor is yours.
What am I doing again?
You're just going to tell us your vape story, you know, how like your smoking history and then how you started vaping.
Okay, so I never smoked cigarettes. I smoked and don't worry, Nick, I'm not saying what you think I'm saying. I only smoked cloves, and I love them. And remember, like when they still sold in this country, the ones with like the black wrap on them, and they dipped them in like sugar or whatever, and they were amazing. So then about I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I started back up with them, and I'm just thinking there's got to be a better way. And I saw something on the internet about I want to say, you help me out if I'm wrong, but I think the company was called Green Smokes, and they were like cigalikes. And I went to check them out because I had read on Google about how they had this wonderful clove. Well, lo and behold, they did, and it was really good. But then they stopped making it like almost instantly, that sucked. But that led me to like, okay, I need to look further, and I found Vaporfy, who has an amazing clove, and I think I got like a it was a Joytech product, but it wasn't a Joytech, a E-Leaf, like a E-Leaf 40 or 30 or something like that, and a I want to say a Kanger tank, like one of those really simple ones with like a 1.8 ohm coil. And I started that, and I found that I didn't crave the cloves anymore, and it just kind of relaxed me and helped. And then about 4 years ago, my son died, and I think that was the transition for when vaping for me became a hobby. That's when I would, there's so many aspects to vaping that if you want to learn everything you can about it, you can. And I did. And, I've been amazed by, what a tight-knit group the vape family is. Not only is it a product that helps people, stop smoking without any desire to go back, and I realize that there's all these restrictions nowadays where you can't say vaping is, 100% better than smoking. But, and I'm sure someone's mentioned this already, but, the College of Physicians in the UK, they've already come out and said it's 95% safer. So even if it's only 95% safer, it's 95% safer and maybe 95% chance you won't die of lung cancer. And I've heard numerous stories from friends, because since I started vaping, I've been trying to get my smoking friends into it, and I've gotten some, and they've all said like they can breathe easier. It's just so important. But I've been rambling about that when I actually wanted to talk about something else really quick, and that is that let's see if I can see this. So yes, it says Dole Dime, but this is my DIY juice, and obviously, DIY mods. But the reason I got into that in the first place is because I've been so worried that with the out of control FDA, with people in governing positions that don't understand, they don't really even understand vaping and don't understand its benefits, but they have no problem trying to pass laws about it. And the fear that they're going to stop making e-juice, or they're going to stop making the flavors, that we all like. And I'm going to now have this thing that's been helping me and become a hobby just become non-existent. So I started reading about and making my own juice. Obviously, I make my own mods because I don't want some bureaucrat to tell me what I can't do. However, not everyone is in my position. Not everyone has maybe my background where they can go and do what I did to protect themselves. And that's why, as a community, people have to come together and take the survey, get in touch with the FDA. I mean, there's so many things that we should be doing to keep this from becoming something that is illegal or banned. And then it's too late. I mean, yeah, we can fight it then, but what do we do in the meantime?
How many people to stop something than it is to Sorry, I was just going to say it's always easier to stop something than it is to reverse it once it's a thing.
Exactly. So, I mean, hey, again, Nick, you notice I might be making more sense today than I normally do when we talk. I wonder why.
Michelle,
yes.
Quick question for you. So you started with your clove flavor.
Yeah.
Now what do you vape today?
Oh my God, I am so boring. I'm so boring. I don't vape tobacco. I don't vape tobacco with menthol. So right there, I'm screwed if this goes through. But believe it or not, I actually ended up mixing up my own clove juice. I use Vaporfy's clove as one of the flavors. I actually so what I do is I get from them. They have like a 3-shot thing, which is just an ungodly amount of flavoring for it. But I use it as a base. And I'm really boring. I vape clove 99% of the time. And then when I need like a slight change to kind of clear the palate, I have this little mouth to lung guy with some juice that I made, which is essentially, if you ate a bowl of Fruit Loops, this is the milk that's left behind. Nice. It's actually really good, but it's not an all-day vape, whereas my clove that's my go-to. And I love it. But you know what? If they ban these, I'm going to lose my base that I use in my mix, because Vaporfy won't be able to sell their clove, and I'm back to like trying the I'm having a mind block, but all the different flavoring companies out there.
Also consider this too, is that if this regulation, if all of these regulations go through, I would imagine that they're going to also regulate nicotine as well. And so, if you do DIY,
it's going to get even harder to get that. Exactly.
If you DIY, you may not have access to nicotine anymore, right?
I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. But at the same time, like it would all be black market, and it's
how do you know how safe it is? And it's like,
yeah. But it's a sad day when you have to stockpile something in order to prevent you from going back to smoking. It's kind of like the doomsday prepper kind of mentality.
I'm a vaping doomsday prepper. That's exactly what it is.
I feel like we all are in a certain way. Oh, we got James Martin. Wow, James Martin is on the stream. Hey,
I mean, if they stop making mods, I mean, the Stooges are the first people that are all going to get one of my mods, because I'm not going to, let that happen where we don't have anything to vape on. But that's definitely, I shouldn't have to do that.
No, you shouldn't have to do that, and we shouldn't have to you know, go down that road, right? And I wanted to touch on something you mentioned earlier, when you said, 95% safer, and even if 95, let's just say 95% of people who vape will be fine, and the other 5% of those people who will die, right? If every smoker quit, and there was no, this is all a big what if every smoker quit and there was all of a sudden no tobacco related illness anymore, right? Your national deaths would go down from 500,000 a year to 25,000 a year, right? Which is, still a lot of people. It's still a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's a lot less people than there were before. You know what I mean? And it's unlikely to even be that bad, right? Like that's the reality of that. It's probably not.
Sorry. I have a lot of dogs. Nick, some of your viewers, actually probably most of your viewers, aren't aware of that. I do a lot of things for suicide prevention. And, what I've always said to myself is, if I save one life, just one, I've done my job. And the thing is with vaping, we're not talking about saving one life. We're talking about, what was the figure from A Billion Lives? Was it 1 billion lives or 1 million lives before the end of the century? Do you remember that figure?
That's the whole thing with 1 billion lives is smoking will affect 1 billion lives before the end of the century, essentially. So
that's crazy. Think about this isn't even like, getting into like, okay, well, we're Americans, we should have the right, to do this. This is about people. This is about saving lives. This is about saving someone's mom, someone's sister, someone's brother, someone's father. I mean, and the fact that this is even being considered is mind-boggling, and it just leads me to like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it leads me to like, okay, well, Big Pharma is taking a hit on their cessation products. Big Tobacco is getting hit, obviously. And this is probably more about money than anything else. But you know what? We the people, we determine what happens with our dollar. We determine what happens with who we vote into office, and we have to make it known that these are things that if our congressmen, our senators, our representatives don't represent us, they won't be there for the next term.
And we need to present ourselves as basically a threat to them. And that's the thing. There's 1 million plus vapors in the US. That's 1 million plus votes in my book. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, what was the figure that I had heard? It was something that tobacco will definitely affect a billion people by the end of the century. But not only that, but it's also, tobacco, like, isn't it at the moment that there's estimated something that 1 billion people in the world use tobacco, or something like that? Like,
I believe that for sure.
That, like across the entire world. 1 billion people
in China that use tobacco alone.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, this was just a natural time it happened.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Sorry.
I mean, okay. just I'm seeing people in the comments talking about their DIY supplies and everything. And
now let me take a look. Oh, now I know what I was going to say.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to just interrupt you when it comes back into my brain and stays put for more than 5 seconds, okay? Because I've forgotten already. Okay. Ignore me.
So I see a lot of people in chat talking about their DIY supplies, and thinking about it now, I'm just like, wow, really, really, like, it's sad that we have to stockpile this sort of stuff. And it's like, it's your own personal stash, though, it's like, I feel like people are going to be, no, this is my base mix, this is my VG, this is my nicotine.
I'm tempted to get a chest freezer for my garage and just gallon jugs of nicotine.
Stock up.
It's going to be like Breaking Bad, but with e-liquid.
I can picture Demo in his underwear in some shitty motorhome out in the middle of the desert mixing e-juice. Like, is that what we come to? Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. Okay. There are vapors who are like cigalites. They are using pod systems. They're using, whatever. And I don't know if I really do expect them to fill out the flavor survey, because I don't know if they go on YouTube or they're even aware of what's going on. I feel like there are a certain amount of people, I'd love to know the number though, that are just doing it to quit smoking, and they're not watching, they're not reading, and but as far as the hobbyist community, there is zero excuse for anyone who watches any of the videos on YouTube to not have done this.
Absolutely. And I actually talk about this a lot in lives and some videos that I do, is that the number of vapors that just are quitting smoking and they go to their local vape shops and they pick up their filters for their sub-ohm tanks, and what I mean? Like, people who don't care at all about knowing what any of this stuff does, but they just want to stop smoking. I think that number vastly outnumbers us here on the internet. I would guess that the people who are not members of this community far outweigh those of us who are.
But if you look at the figures, if you look at the figures on the various vape reviewers, how many followers they have, and obviously several of those vape reviewers are going to have the same people, but
absolutely.
If you look at those figures, and then you look at the fact that I think we've had like 30,000 responses, is it, to the flavor survey? Mm-hmm. We should have many more than that. A lot more.
I said we should have tenfold that.
Right. Yeah. And I was going to bring up the fact that, and then that's when it comes to the vape shops needing to be pushing this on, on people, or not, not pushing this on them, but at least telling them, if you feel that flavors, have helped you quit, go take this survey, right? And I have been in, personally around this area, I have been in 5 or 6 different vape shops, and none of them had anything like that.
Yeah, that's wrong.
That's where the problem lies.
Yeah. They should have a poster or something hanging up when you first walk in, just to let people know. And then if they ask their, the person there that's helping them, then they can get more information. But I need ads, But what today's the last day, right?
Yep.
Today's the last day. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
So I was going to say that's where the problem lies, is the vape shops. There's thousands of vape shops across this country, and I guarantee the majority of them either didn't even know that this is going on, or they didn't care that this is going on. So,
which is mind-boggling, because you think about that, right? This is going to massively affect their business.
Massively. And I work at a vape shop. We have over 300 flavors. We pride ourselves on telling people that. And
do you have your own in-store brand of flavors?
We have.
I know that you have.
We have Blaz. Yeah, that's kind of like our.
But that's like yours, right?
Ish. Well, I have a couple business partners, but yeah, okay. But we don't have like a shop brand line or anything. But at the end of the day, it's like we rely on other companies that that we buy our juice from, and if everyone is forced to do tobacco or menthol, then we would probably carry maybe 20 to I'd say 20 flavors probably that have tobacco and menthol only. That's it. Yeah. So it's a scary thought, but vape shops should have been lining their entire walls with just posters about this, with QR codes where you can scan it, shut your Wi-Fi off, scan the code, get a 10% discount on your purchase today, that kind of thing.
Well, that is the other thing, because I'm not sure that everyone knows that about the survey, but I believe I'm correct in saying this. They track it by IP address. So just having everyone in the family from your house do it is only going to count as one. Mm-hmm. They won't be individually counted. It's something that you need to really, it's probably easier just to do it on your phone and not use, like you said, turn off the Wi-Fi, use your data plan or whatever. But I don't know. It's one of those things that hurts my brain, because I just cannot comprehend why there haven't been more responses.
Well, and unbeknownst to all of you guys, while we were on this live, I just went and filled out the survey again. So, using a
from
VPN.
A different IP.
Oh, you're doing VPNs?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
why not? Whatever. It's for me, it is what it is. We gotta pad these results a little bit.
I would do that, but
we shouldn't have to.
We should. That's what I was just gonna say. We shouldn't have to.
I'm so mad that we have to go through such lengths. Real quick, couple of things. My buddy James Martin, him and I go way back to VaporCon a couple of years ago. He says flavors are key. They talk about how the flavors make it more appealing to kids, but I quit smoking when I was 34. And at the time, butterscotch was
sorry. Hold on, I'm going to mute myself for a second, okay?
He says, and at the time, butterscotch was my all-day vape after trying a plethora of other flavors, including tobaccos and menthols, and just not remaining satisfied. So I think that's a powerful message right there. And I mean, you're talking about adults, grown-ass people that enjoy flavors. I mean, I'm pretty sure at least 90% of the people that are watching right now enjoy a flavor other than menthol or tobacco. Not saying you don't enjoy those from time to time. I'm saying on a regular all-day vape, you're not just doing menthol or tobacco.
Right.
I know a lot of people that vape, and I could count on less than one hand how many people actually vape tobacco flavored juice.
Right. It's not the super most common. I mean, one thing, just a real quick thing, right? Charlie Toland in the comments or the chat said, right, the other shops are in it for the money, not the hobby. The thing is that if you're a smart business, you will realize that you need to do this, otherwise your shop's going to be gone, and then all of the money that you were trying to make is going to be gone, right? So, you know, I think it comes down to more the apathy thing than anything else. This sort of like, well, what's going to happen is what's going to happen, right? There's nothing we can do. Like, whenever I hear someone say there's nothing we can do, I'm like, it always makes me want to be like, no, you know, like,
that's laying down. That's laying down and dying. Essentially, that's what you're doing.
Right. Even if there's nothing we can do, we must do something, and then at least we can say that we didn't take it laying down. You know? Can
I bring something up? I just saw in the chat. Queer Your Vape mentioned something that's important, and I think maybe I only briefly touched on it, but there's a lot of people struggling with mental health issues that this is very helpful for, you know, myself included.
Yeah,
you know, it really helps me kind of relax, you know, and not have to depend so heavily on pharmaceuticals, you know, to kind of slow my brain down a bit. But, you know, I wish I could speak more on that right now, but, you know, I don't know how it affects other people. I'm sure it helps a lot of people, but I know it does help me a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why you get into it a lot of people get into it in the first place, is it helps you relax. That's what they used to advertise in the 50s, you know?
Yeah.
It helps you relax.
What I want to see is a remake of Mad Men, you know, where they're all smoking their ciggies, but like have a remake and they're all vaping.
There you go. Well, vaping is starting to become more mainstream.
Yeah, you are starting to see it more.
I've been seeing it. I was watching a TV show the other day, and one of the lead characters was vaping, and I was like, you know, and of course there was the obligatory, you know, that shit's bad for you, right? You know, like one character would say that, and the other would be like, well, I like it though, you know. I'm like,
well, the other thing that's portrayed by the media is that you know, I see a lot of portrayal that, like, you know, the guy is vaping and he's a douchebag because he's vaping, which is, you know, it's just
stereotype. Yeah,
I know, it's dumb.
Real quick, I wanted to share Josh's story. Josh V.
Hey, Josh.
He says, "Hi, Nick. Can't come on live, but maybe you can relay my story. I started smoking at about 13 and was a pack a day or more smoker until 2012. I was working at an armored car company, and there were a few people who vaped, and it got me interested, and also couldn't smoke in the truck because my partner didn't smoke. I did some research and went to e-cig barn in Raynham, Mass, and they hooked me up with an Ego C Twist and CE4 Clear Miser and some 24 milligram Mountain Dew flavored e-liquid. I started vaping only to get through the day at work and would go back to cigarettes after. This went on for about 3 to 4 months when I got sick of buying e-liquid and cigarettes and just made the switch to vaping full-time at the end of 2012. YouTubers like you and Grim helped me stay on the path. I have moved up to better mods over the years and am at 3 milligram and couldn't be happier with my choice. It also helps to have met many cool people like yourself in this industry and community. And, you know, that's another reason why, like, I'm sure Demo and I do what we do, is because we are interested in helping people. That's why I started my first blog about vaping. That's why I started this YouTube channel, and that's why I continue to like push advocacy as much as I can. You can see it in every single one of my videos, and at the end of every video, I say, check out the advocacy links in the description below.
Yeah.
I say that every single time because
and without starting like a total, internet war, and I won't mention names, but we all know that there are some large vape reviewers that haven't done a damn thing, and that is also ridiculous. It's like the shops, this is their main source of income, and are they that short-sighted that they can't see the forest for the trees?
Right, and to turn their back on the industry that made them, you know what I mean, that made them what they are, right? Like, to see that is disheartening. I mean, well, for one, it's disheartening, and two, you're right, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you not be pushing this? Like, it's, the thing is that, why is it that it's us, and I don't want to lump Nick into this, but why is it that, it's us smaller reviewers, and, Nick, who's like a medium reviewer,
Well, I blame Nick regardless.
Right. It's all Nick's fault, really.
Yeah, totally.
But, no, but like, you know what I mean? Like, why is it that we're the ones that are, primarily pushing for it? And I'm not trying to throw all the bigger reviewers under the bus, right? So Mike Vapes, obviously you don't apply to this, but there are several, and as you said, there are several that I'm, speaking to directly, and it's like, why are you not helping? Like why is it that we have to take up this yoke of responsibility?
I know why.
Everyone should be doing it.
I know why. Because there's no money in it.
Yeah, but that's
the thing. But that's the thing, is that if vaping goes away, then there's no money ever again for them in this, right? So, like, again, it makes sense if you think about it on a deeper level, that even if it is something, for you, or even if it is something you say, well, there's no money in this, right? So I don't want to post it or whatever. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you're thinking about your cash right this second, you're right, maybe. But like, at the same time, your paycheck's going to be gone in the next few years if you don't help this fight.
And
those are the things that like make my brain hurt, because there's no logic in this whatsoever.
No.
I won't really talk about it too much. I don't want to dwell on this for too long, but Mike Vapes did comment something in chat that's pretty important.
I'm gonna take a look. See
about our suspect, our usual suspect, if you will.
Rip trippers. I'll just go ahead.
Damn it, Timo.
Whatever, man. Rip trippers. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna send goons to your house? You know what I mean? Like, no.
Yeah, really?
He's gonna send that bodyguard he had at that show after you. like, come on.
Oh man, I don't know if anyone knows about that. I don't think I told everyone.
Should we have story time with Nick real quick?
No, just basically, there's an event in California, like the one event that Rip Trippers ever went to, and it was in California, the state that he pissed off royally with the whole dry knuckle thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, that led to a campaign from stillblowingsmoke.org. So the next day after that video came out, Still Blowing Smoke came out with a video with him saying he's got dry knuckles and other health issues because of vaping in that video.
He's had a lot of those missteps over the years, though. So he's had some crazy...
But the one event that he actually went to was in California, and he brought with him a bodyguard that, according to a friend of mine, and I'm quoting here, looked like he murdered babies for a living. Like, just a ginormous bodyguard.
Oh my God. And that's crazy.
He's sitting there like next to Phil Basardo, the other guy that was invited to the event, and it's just like Rip Trippers, bodyguard, and Phil Basardo. And Phil Basardo's just living it up in Cali.
That is crazy. I'm surprised that when Josh wrote you his story about how he got into vaping, he didn't tell you the part that involved me.
Oh, well,
because he was driving one of those armored cars, and I had actually robbed him. But while I was robbing him, I was vaping, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cool." So yeah, that's how it all happened.
Like, what is that in your hand, mystery robber?
It's a smoke mag kit, not a gun.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Freeze. Oh, that's backwards.
Right.
Freeze.
Yeah.
Surely there must be stooges who want to come on and talk.
Well, you know,
actually, yeah. I was gonna say I'm gonna bring Clown in, but I'm trying to do it one at a time, Michelle. So I'm gonna kick you out.
You can mute me, or I can just log off, and I'm good for today. Whatever you want to do.
I'll kick you out. Well, I'm sure we'll have you on for. Oh, actually, no. There's no stew this Friday.
No, there's no stew this Friday.
I do want to say one thing before I go.
Shoot.
I got the most amazing thing for the next after show. So it won't be this Friday, but the next Friday. But make sure you tune in because it's you'll love it. Trust me. Okay.
I can't wait.
Hey, it was really nice. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing everything that you do. And special shout out to all the Stooges, and I'll see you in a couple Fridays.
All right,
Peace
Michelle.
out.
Bye.
And I was originally going to plan on doing a vape soup, vape broth on Friday, just me and whoever else wanted to come. But I will be driving down to Florida, so there won't be anything on Friday.
We could take a week off. It's not a big deal.
It's fine, you know. It'll be a bye week for our show.
A bye week. But yeah, if any other vape stooges would like to come on, get at me in the Discord server.
Clown
we have Clown joining us right now.
No, I'm here now.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
You guys hear me okay?
How we doing today? Yep, you're good.
Awesome. Yeah, so vape story time. I picked up smoking in Mexico of all places at the age of 13, cousin influence. And from there I just kind of went with it, and being the psychotic person that I am, I did Marlboro Reds, Camel Whites, Camel Reds. I went for like the heaviest cigarettes I can find in my path. And about the age of 25, I was about a 2-pack a day smoker. And it was just ridiculous. But around 25, a friend of mine had this like little cigarette-like thing, and she was like, here, give this a try. I went and got myself one. Then after that, I got a C4 tank with an Ego battery on there. And from there is kind of where my vape journey starts. Tried a Nautilus Mini with this, I don't even remember what battery I had for it. But I was around the time when I got a Subbox Mini when I finally quit smoking. That thing really helped me. I think I was telling you this a while back, Nick. That thing just like, it gave me the appropriate thing. And I mean, the flavors I was chasing after were coffees, vanillas, things like that. At no point did I ever bother looking for menthols or tobacco. To me, I'd never, even to this day, I vape mostly desserts. Those are like my jam all the time. I mean, I'm currently vaping that Mama San Grand Slam, giving that a try. Then for my DIY stuff, my top 3 favorites are this strawberries and cream I do, blueberry crumble one that I make, and a what is the other one? And then I do one that I call fruit basket. That's like a fruit medley. And I mean, in none of my lists have I ever had menthol.
Right.
Or, you know, tobacco. Just I don't know, like the smell never attracted me. I tried making a tobacco for my own personal use, and that went disastrous and disgusting. So I just don't even know how that would work, you know.
And I'm kind of with you. Like I was a menthol smoker, right? Like I smoked the full gamut, right? I started off with the Camel Menthol Silvers because those are the cigarettes you start off of when you're, 18, 19 and you're, trying to just get into cigarettes and not die. And what do you say?
Unless you're me.
Unless you're you, right.
Yeah.
And then it went from there, and I had a little affair with like Marlboro 27s every now and again, and I would do that. And Marlboro Reds, I had a phase. I had the Marlboro Reds 100 phase for a little bit. That was a rough time. But ultimately where I landed was on Newport 100s and Cool 100s, right? And I was on the Cools, man. I loved them. Oh, I loved them. Everybody was like, dude, those are so nasty. And I was like, no, they're not. They're just the best because they were like so menthol, like that just intense menthol. And when I switched to vaping, I was just not. I didn't need it all of a sudden because I didn't need that fresh sensation because I could just vape a juice that was kind of refreshing, and then it would give me that, right? And menthol juices always are like, sometimes I'll vape some of these juices and I'm like, this has more menthol in it than like any cough drop I've ever used, and you know, it can't be good for you. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe not, maybe it is, maybe, whatever. Anyway, keep going. A little aside.
That's all good.
I kind of wanted to. Are you? Go ahead, Jay.
No, you go ahead, man.
I kind of wanted to take a second and just kind of reiterate the point here. Today is the last day for the flavor survey. For any people that just tuned in, go and take the flavor survey. It is for U.S. vapors, and I believe you have to have a U.S. IP address. So unfortunately, our UK friends can't help us out here. But this is important because it's more than just flavors, right? Flavored e-liquids, you know, I have half a dozen of them right in front of me right now. And after this, you know, if the FDA goes through with a flavor ban, then I have nothing to vape, really. I'm not a DIYer. I can't make my own juice. I prefer flavors other than tobacco and menthol. If I had just those two choices, I'd probably end up quitting vaping, which means quitting YouTube. You'd see all the YouTube channels disappear. You'd see all the vape shops disappear because they can't survive just selling menthol and tobacco flavored e-liquids.
Right. We'd be left with juices at a gas station, you know, which are crap. And, you know, I would love to sit here and say that I wouldn't start smoking again, but I know that I'd be tempted. You know what I mean? I know that I'd be really tempted because I would want that nicotine. And, you know, like it would be really hard for me to not, you know, despite spending all this time and effort to avoid it, I would really have a hard time not going back to smoking. Right. You know, so.
I mean, it's like Nick was talking earlier about what nicotine levels everybody started, and I started at 24 milligram in 2012, and even on that Kanger sub box, I was still using 24 milligram. But even people would look at me like, "Are you psychotic?" And I'm like, "It helps. I'm sorry."
Oof.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's rough. And I mean, right now, everything I vape on is 3 milligram, and I'm even still working my way down to 0. You know.
Right.
And how that goes.
Right, exactly. Panda said it's not going to be a flavor ban. It's going to be marketing, branding / wording ban. Here's the thing, right? I've heard this a lot from a lot of different people. They're like, well, they're not going to ban all flavors. And I'm like, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
do you know that for sure? Like, are you 100% sure that that's not going to happen? Because unless I'm absolutely sure, I'm still going to treat it as a full-on flavor ban because I don't want to even have the chance.
I'd rather over advocate than advocate at all.
I mean, and honestly, like you gotta with today's society, you gotta have a little clickbait. You know, like you gotta scare people a little bit because that's the way people actually go into action. Is if they sit there and think, well, shit, you know, all the flavors I'm vaping are gonna be gone. I got to do something about this, right? But you know, if you say to someone, well, you know, they're probably just gonna change the wording, and you know, I don't know, it's probably not gonna be a big deal. Then people are like gonna go, well, okay, and then that's the end.
Right.
I'm not trying to sit here and call you out.
Here's the thing.
But
here's the thing. If it came down to it and the marketing aspect got taken out of the equation and we ended up like Australia, where they have gray packs with black or white text only, with just pictures of diseased lungs and, you know, early term babies and stuff like all over them, like with warnings and all that stuff everywhere, all over the pack. There was no branding whatsoever, just words. You know, it'd just say Blaz in plain text. You know, would it still be as appealing to you?
No, but I would be. Look, if that's the case, but we get to keep all of our flavors,
it's a compromise, I guess.
It's a compromise. It's not what I want, but I do think that the actual flavors themselves are what would really matter, right? Like, you know, like. Now, here's the thing. The reality is that if you take any marketing away, then how could people compete with each other, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other than by pure, I mean, you know, on one side of things, you know, you would have everyone would look the same, and so then the quality of the liquid would become the entire point, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, so you might actually end up with some really, really good liquids out there, and that, you know, people will tell you, oh, you got to buy this from this company, like, and it's the best, right? So, you know, it could end up being. I'm not going to use the word good, but it could end up being, you know, like an interesting situation for sure. But at the same time, you know, it's a slippery slope, right? You start going down that road and then they're like, well, let's just get rid of flavors too, you know? And it's like, you start going into that argument and it's like, we have to keep as much as possible, you know, and push away as much as possible, you know, like in order to stay close to where we are now.
So I do apologize, Jake, because I totally interrupted you there. You're like still going on about your point.
Oh no, I'm good, man. I mean, even earlier this morning, I was listening to Culture of Clouds, and they were going on. I had got as far as advocacy on it on my drive home from doing some stuff this morning, and yeah, even like because you know I do my little YouTubey stuff, my little old me over here, and I was thinking of what I'm doing today, and I seriously just hit a point, like a breaking point of why even put out content. You know, I'm just gonna do something about advocacy and just put that out there. And why? I mean, seriously, I mean, we do all this stuff, you know, everybody in all aspects, but if we're not getting that fight out there, what's the point? You know?
But I feel like it's not time to give up yet. I can't just
No,
I can't give up.
No, we can't give up, but I mean, we need those numbers. I mean, again, how many vapors we see in Facebook groups and things like that? It's like, where are you folks right now? Like, I mean, seriously, we got the US numbers on all those groups.
I'm just sick of seeing nothing but hand checks and you know, juice checks and cloud checks and all that while all this shit's going on.
Yep.
Like I'm just so sick of it.
I won't give up on this until the day that vaping is dead and in the ground, 6 feet under. The last hand check I'll post is me with a pack of cigarettes, and that'll be it. You know what I mean? Like that's when I give up, right? When vaping is gone. You know what I mean? Like and you know, I pray that it never comes to that, but you know, that's why we got to fight now, because if we wait until it's bad, then it's just going to get super bad.
It's going to be hard to reverse all the effects that have already taken place.
Right.
But I feel like with our industry as big as it is, you know, we have thousands of juice companies out there, and you know, kind of speaking on the topic of a blacklist, I mean, I feel like the companies with the bad branding should be, you know, punished in a way. And the companies that don't advocate should be punished, but also the companies like the Golden List that do advocate and have good branding should be encouraged and brought up. I'd rather focus on a positive kind of message rather than a negative message. Like, focus on the companies that give back to advocacy and actually care. You know, like I want to see companies not just posting up like little take the survey things. I want to see them posting like, we have given this much to advocacy this year or whatever. Because okay, kind of taking a sidestep here, Juul has just put aside $30 million to help with the cause of preventing minors from getting their hands on their product. And that amount of money is more than the vaping industry has raised over the entire lifespan. I don't think that the vaping industry as a whole has put up over $30 million to support advocacy in their in our own industry.
Definitely not. I mean, and the fact that Juul has to do that, I think, is silly, because you know, they should not be responsible for the minors that are using their product illegally, right? No less. That should be the enforcement and state and federal enforcement, and you know, the vape shops and the convenience stores and the any online retailers that sell illegally. Yeah, you know, like those are the people who are responsible. And we talked about this on Vapes too. Is it's like when a 7-Eleven, a minor comes in and buys liquor, they're the one that gets in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, and so why is Juul having to sit here and defend themselves?
They're basically bending over backwards for the FDA because they want their product available. And they're actually pushing for Tobacco 21 nationwide, which is a bad thing in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
because if you can vote and go to war, you should be able to have a choice of what you want to do.
I would like to see, honestly, and the only restriction that I would be okay with really is Tobacco 19, right? Because 19, I can see why, because then high school students that are seniors can't buy products for everyone else in the school, right? I mean, obviously you're going to have a few super seniors here and there, but like other than that, you know, it would help a lot keeping things out of the hands of other, you know, high school students, right? So I get that, but 21 is ridiculous, right? Like 21, you know, I think that drinking should be reduced to 19, you know, like 19 for me, I found is a good compromise, right?
Yeah.
Then the antis get, you know, the antis get what they want, right? That sort of promise that it'll help eliminate some of the youth usage, and it's not far away from 18. It's another year, right? So I think that's a reasonable compromise, because I do think that, you know, we have to be careful not to just go so far into this realm of no, 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 nothing, right? Because then you become unreasonable, right? And then people are like, well, we can't reason with the vape industry, so we're just going to do what we're going to do, right?
Yeah.
You have to give and take, right? It has to be. So, you know.
I actually agree with you there, Timo, because 19, at the very least, I'd say the majority of people graduate high school before they turn 19. Whereas right now, 18 years old in most places in Massachusetts and most pretty much all of Connecticut, as far as I know, tobacco is legal at 18, and kids are turning 18 a couple months before they graduate. That being said, they're going into the vape shops, buying something legally and bringing it to school with them, handing it off to their friends, and going and buying another one, you know. And I've seen the same people come back to my shop several times and get the exact same thing. And I can't do anything about it because they're not doing anything illegal.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Well, you know what you could do, and you know, this is what I was reading about this. A guy on the internet said that he is a manager at a vape shop, and similar situation happened. An 18-year-old kid came in, bought a Juul, I think it was, and then came back in for a Shortener, and then came back in for a Juul, and then another Juul, and then by the fourth Juul, he was like, he figured out what was going on, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. There's nothing he can do legally about it. But what he did was he figured out where that kid went to school and called up the school and was like, I think I've got one of your kids is you know, giving these things out. Lo and behold, they caught him, and he had been handing them out to his friends. And you know, so you could do that, but that even that, I was like, oh,
that's a bit extreme, though.
That's a little extreme, but you know what I mean? Like,
that's not his job. At the same time, like, you got to figure that that's a vape shop manager, right? Or
that's someone who actually gives a damn about, you know, like,
right.
not having
that's
these
fair.
products.
That's fair. And I do everything in my power to prevent that situation.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, if I see a kid outside in the car and he's with a bunch of other kids, and I see money changing hands, I'm like, I always question them about it. I'm like, so what's up with your buddies in the car? They don't want to come in? Oh, they're not 18. It's like, oh, why'd you take money from them? It's like, I grill them, you know, and if I catch them in a stupid like lie, then obviously I'll just refuse a sale, because I can do that. I can refuse a sale for any reason. If I suspect they're doing something, then I can refuse a sale. And I've done it countless times. But most of the time, you're going to get a vape shop employee who is more than likely between the ages of 21 and 25, just kind of going by averages here. And they probably don't even give a crap about the whole thing. They're just like, yeah, here you go, whatever. You know,
a lot of these people, it's just a job, right?
Right.
I was also thinking about like online sales. How is that? You know, better monitoring on that kind of aspect. I know some of them have really good ones where you have to show an ID or submit a social security number and things like that. But even then, I mean, as kids, we used to steal money from our mom's purse and things like that. You know, what's to say they didn't take a credit card and an ID?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. You certainly could put your dad or your mom's info in there and, you know, grab their credit card and do all that kind of stuff. And, you know, then that comes down to parenting, right? Like, why do your kids have access to your credit cards? You know,
that's
right. I would never leave my money and cards in an area where my
I mean that's like
stepdaughter, or my stepdaughter could go in there.
I have kids of my own, and I mean, I teach them about these things as a preventative measure. I'm like, you know, I do this because it's my hobby. It's something that helps me. But honestly, if you guys can avoid this altogether, I'm all for that. But you know, there has to be a level of education on the parent's part instead of just going, well, this person did this for my kid, that person. It's like, where the hell are you as a parent? You know, that I don't know, that as a parent, that always annoys me. That no parent is willing to take responsibility for their own little brat.
Yeah. But not everyone wants to take responsibility anymore. That's the problem. So
you
they're letting the
sending-
government step in.
And
Are you
it
sending-
frustrates me.
Yeah, I got it. He needs a couple minutes to set up, and
Okay,
we're gonna let Clown speak his piece here.
Sure. I was about to send it to him, so I just wanted to ask if you were.
Got it. I got it. But yeah, it comes down to parenting at the end of the day, and it's times are not like what they used to be. You know, I feel like that sort of aspect is becoming more and more lax. And I mean, we've seen it from Joel countless times. You know, oh, I'll whoop my kid's ass about that.
Oh,
you
no,
know,
yeah. Because okay, as a kid, I lived in a very tight knit community. It was like a big apartment complex, and most of the people in that complex were related to me. And it was really bad too, where if I did something half a mile away, somebody that was related to me would see it, get onto me about it, beat my ass, call my mom. So on my way home, I was already knowing what I was walking into, and she beat my ass. And then whatever would happen from that point on with punishment.
Oh yeah, for
Right.
sure. And I did everything in my power to hide it from my parents too. When I first started smoking, I lived. Man, I'm giving away all my secrets now. I lived on like a little side street, so there's like a little zigzag in between my bus stop and home. I used to bum a cigarette off of my buddy at the bus stop and walk home. And by the time I got to the end of my little side street, I'd finish with it and ditch it, spray myself with Axe, and then like walk in the house like nothing happened. And it didn't work at all. Like my parents knew they weren't
right, because it just becomes pineapple flavored smoke smell.
But they knew the whole time. They're like, "Oh, you smell like cigarettes." I was like, "Oh, I was hanging out at my buddy's house, and you know, my buddy's mom was the one that I used to roll cigarettes for. I used to go over their house all the time, and they'd all be just smoking away. So I used to come home reeking of cigarettes."
Yeah. It takes a village to raise a kid, though. You know, like because like your parents can be like, "Oh, we don't smoke in this house, and we don't there's no tobacco in this house, and blah blah blah," right? But then you just go over to your friend's mom's house, and she's like, "Sure, fine, I don't care." You know, it's
that's another one. I mean, you can't even look at a kid the wrong way without a parent flipping out anymore.
Right.
You know, there's like yesterday there was some punk kid over here vaping, and I was trying to get onto him, and he just walked off, and I know I can't hunt him down because his mom would like flip out on me, and I'm like, I can't. I'm pretty much shackled over here, you know.
Right. I had some kids walk up to me outside of so I went to a whiskey tasting last weekend, and me and my buddy walked out to vape, and these two kids walked up, probably 15, 16 years old, walked up to me, and they were like, "Oh, yo, man, like, what do you got in there? What are you vaping?" And stuff like that. And they were asking me a bunch of questions about what I was vaping. And I was talking to them about it because I was like, these kids might be 18, right? But I'll talk to them about it, right? And I, was talking about it, and I was like, and one of them was like, "Yo, can I hit that?" And I was like, I don't usually just let people hit my mods, so sorry. And my buddy started to hand his over, and I was like, "Well, hold on, wait." And I was like, "How old are you guys?" And both of them kind of looked at each other, and they're like, 18. And I was like, "That's bullshit. That is a lie." They were lying to me. And they were like, "Well, what does it matter, man? Like, there's no police around or anything." And I was like, exactly, you just made my point. And I just like walked inside. I was like, like, it matters, but you don't get it because you're not old enough yet to understand what
they don't understand the consequences of their actions. They
right.
don't know.
Not on them and not on me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if I got caught giving them vape stuff, so what if they were like undercovers or some weird thing like that? You know what I mean? Like, if I could get blasted. Like, and not only that, but I just don't believe that it's something to take a chance on. It's like, well, where's your vape then? Oh, it broke. And that's what I asked the kid. He was like, "Oh, it broke last week," and I was like, "Huh, really?" That's the one that everyone says to me. All the underage kids say that. "Well, my vape broke. I haven't had nicotine in a week. I just want to take a hit." It's like, no.
Yep. But I feel like everyone, well, like with the exception of you, a lot of people that I know, I'd say the vast majority started illegally using tobacco products, underage. So, I mean, I guess we're as bad as the rest of them. But we're gonna bring Kenny in real quick. So, Jay, do you have anything else you want to say?
You know, fill out the survey. Comment period's still going. Go do that. Seriously, over and over. Annoy them with it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just wanted to also make a quick point, real quick. You know, on the same note, that we are. You know, you just said like, you know, well, we did that too. You know, we were all illegal trying to get cigarettes and stuff. And I was like, well, that makes our point. Kids will do stuff that is illegal because it's attractive. It's attractive, right? It's illegal, and you know, only adults can do it. But shh, don't tell mom. You know, we can do it too. You know, like, and it's like whatever. You know, so it just goes to show that it's not any company's problem. It's not anyone else's. It's the parents. It's the parent and the kid, and that really was what you need to where the dime should stop.
Yep.
So anyway, that's all.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Jay, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right. See y'all later.
Yep. See you later, man.
Chat.
See ya. Yeah. Later, man.
Later.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw Clown Vape's YouTube channel real quick into the chat.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was going to say.
I'm already on it.
All right. I'm going to send Kenny the link. We'll get him in here real quick. Boom. Like I've been saying all stream, if any stooges want to come on, tell their vaping story, whatever, just get at me. DM me. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on, to be honest, but, you know, just wanted to get our point across, you know. Last couple hours here. You ready for a nap?
Yep.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll do Kenny, and we'll probably sign out after that.
Cool.
Because I actually want to go play some. I've been playing Prey on Xbox One.
Okay.
It's a badass game. It's like a horror sci-fi. You're in the middle of space, and oh man, it's so cool.
Interesting. I've been playing Far Cry 5. That's been my jam recently.
I don't have that one.
There is a multiplayer feature.
I might get it. I need a bigger hard drive already for my Xbox One. Need a terabyte external or something. Yeah, we got Kenny here. Hey, Sherlock Holmes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good, man. You look amazing, by the way. Can I just say that?
Thank you. So do you.
No.
Streaming from your Canon, I'm assuming.
Yep.
5D Mark IV. Yep.
God, that's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to present you to everyone so you could tell a little bit about your smoking history and your vaping story. Take it away.
Way to give me some time to get ready here, by the way.
Or you could just tell us what you're vaping on.
I had nothing fucking set up at all. So right now, vaping on, believe it or not, the Sandman mech mod from the Nord kit. It's a piece of shit.
Does it have flavor?
The Mage 2 that I have on top of it does. That's for sure.
Crispy Vape.
Yeah. Say that again.
Crispy Vape.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, so I'm vaping this. I've got the Luxotic with the Tobino in front of me, and I've got the Dreamer with the Fire Luke on top. I got
a mech with a tank.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to say 510.
There you go.
I know what I'm doing. I vape. And then I also have that new iJoy. The Avenger kit, the voice one.
Oh no.
I can't really get it to work for me.
It's temperamental.
Very temperamental.
A little bit, man. If a Mercedes can't understand what you're saying, there's no way a mod's going to be able to understand.
It's very, it works when it wants to kind of thing. And I feel like it's just a way for the Chinese to spy on Americans.
That's true. It could have Wi-Fi. It just doesn't say anything and just like connects when it can.
Hijacks off of the Wi-Fi.
When you plug it in to charge it or to update the firmware,
right?
Sends it all out.
Right on, man.
Yep. And then I've got a whole plethora of pod systems.
A plethora.
Oh.
I've been seeing you did the pod system comparison video. Very nice.
I'm actually about to do another one because I have so many more now.
Dude, I need to do another one too.
Yeah. And people want to know. There's so many options. So it's hard to know unless you get to try them, which most people don't.
The Zoer. Zuropod system.
Zoor, the thing I don't like about the Zoor is that it's kind of expensive, you know?
How much is it?
The device itself is $50. Like, and then the pods are not super cheap as far as I know.
This is harsh as hell too.
Yeah. What do you have in it?
Ice or menthol?
Oof.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like Demo.
I'll get you in the chest. So,
right.
What about your smoking story though, Sherlock?
So
tell us the deets.
I've got a very addictive personality. So when I decided I wanted to smoke cigarettes, and it was a straight decision, I was like, I want to be cool. I'm going to start smoking. And that first night I smoked my first cigarette, I didn't just stop with one. I smoked like a whole pack within the next 24 hours. And that kind of set the tone for my smoking career almost immediately. Like within a few months, maybe like 6 or 7 months, I was smoking as much as my body would handle. So it was like for the first, I don't know, year, it was like a half a pack. And then it went to a pack a day for a long fucking time, like 12 years, if not longer. And I was the kind of person who I was like, I'm okay, I get it, I'm never gonna quit smoking, because I tried all the usual suspects, the gums, the lozenges, the hypnotism, the patches, all that shit, Chantix, everything that you could possibly try, I tried, but I never really even wanted to quit, so I was kind of doomed to fail, I guess, with those attempts. But then I started seeing vaping, and to be completely honest, I thought it was the douchiest thing in the world, and I'd make fun of my buddy Colin all the time for vaping, and puffing away on his digital cloud cannon. And then eventually, he's like, "Man, you should try it. You should just try it.
The douche flute is the one.
The douche flute. That's right. And he eventually got me to like try his. And at that point, being a smoker, I really couldn't taste anything, especially the like desserty kind of flavors, like the light, more delicate kind of things like bakeries. I couldn't taste any of those. The only thing I could truly actually get some flavor from was like hard flavored strawberries, watermelons, things like that. But so I started with I had actually attempted to quit a few times using like the sticks, the pens, the egos, and that never stuck with me either. I just like collected a bunch of them. And then so when I finally was able to give vaping a fair shot, I didn't even intend to quit. My buddy Colin gave me a Kanger single 18650 starter kit, and I got a bottle of strawberry juice. And I just started vaping it. Like, all right, so I had really hard time in the beginning with actually hitting it because it would make me cough so bad. And he was like, just stick with it and you'll eventually get the hang of it. And what I was doing in the beginning, I was hitting it like a cigarette, and it was a direct lung, sub-ohm tank. And for however I was hitting it, it was making me like cough real bad. Like I just couldn't stomach it. And then I'll never forget it too. I was sitting in bed trying to vape, and I hit it like correctly for the first time, and I didn't cough. And I was like, holy fuck, I did it. And from there, I think it was maybe 3 months I was vaping and smoking, but every day I smoked a little bit less. And I didn't even really realize it was happening until the day came where I hadn't smoked a cigarette. First whole day I hadn't had a cigarette in fucking years, man, years. And I was like, holy shit. And I got like really, really excited because I had conceded to myself that I'm never going to be able to quit smoking. And so that was a really awesome experience. It was like really, really cool, especially, because I think Phoenix was like either like just born or something. Like it was really, really, Jess was pregnant. And so it all just kind of like worked out at that time. And then, so after that 3 months of smoking / vaping, I haven't smoked, and I got really into building almost immediately. I think it was right after I quit smoking, I got my first RDA and immediately started building. And yeah, that's it.
That's a story, and you're sticking to it.
That's my story. And I'm
With the
sticking
building
to it.
thing, the building thing was important for me too, because it turned it into a hobby, right? And then I developed a second level interest where, of course, I wasn't going to quit smoke, or I wasn't going to go back to smoking, right? Like I was into it, the hobby bit me, so I was like, okay, cool.
That's a very good point. Yes. Yeah, actually, to elaborate there, once, like within that 3 months too, I was with my buddy Colin, and I'd go up to like vape shops and stuff, and I started making friends, and I started meeting people, and that camaraderie and the community really drew me to vaping as well. And then building, of course, yeah, it turned into a hobby, and the community aspect of it was pretty great.
And I mean, here we are today, joined by 66 people watching currently, talking about something that we're passionate about. And never in my life would I ever do the same thing for cigarettes. I wouldn't be out here going, well, they're going to raise prices again. Oh, we should fight. We should tell the FDA, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I wouldn't have met you guys. I wouldn't have been
videos, you'd be like, all right, everybody. Today we are looking at this Marlboro Reds hard pack.
There are channels out there.
20 cigarettes in the pack.
There are smoking channels out there. That's a thing. But I guarantee you, the community is not nearly as big as vaping, as far as the hobby aspect.
Right. There is a pretty big pipe community, and they actually do cloud competitions and stuff like that. And then there's a big community around cigars. Yeah.
I was a cigar guy, right? I have a painting of me wearing a rice hat, smoking a Cuban cigar, like that a friend of mine painted for me back when I was a big cigar guy. In fact, actually, there was a time in which I was thinking about doing YouTube for cigar reviews, and I just didn't. It just didn't ever stick. It was not at that time. I was like, I kind of just enjoy these. So. And I will admit, I still from time to time will enjoy a nice cigar, right? Because it's more of a special occasion thing for me than it is.
But there's nothing wrong with that. It's breaking a habit, right? If you smoke cigars habitually, you have to break that habit.
Which I did at one time.
That's what it's all about. Exactly. If you're doing a cigar a day, or cheaping those things down.
I was probably 6 cigars a day at one point. I always had a stogie in my mouth. It was real bad. I reeked, my teeth. It was just like, it was awful. And like of course at the time I was like real into it. I would show up to the cigar lounge with my tucked in polo and my khakis and my sweater around my sweater.
Of course you did.
And, like pitching up in my Mercedes, smoking a cigar. Like it was a thing for me, right? Like like
of course, yeah.
And swag,
showing up with your box mod in hand when you're Ferrari to the expo, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it transferred into vaping, right?
Yeah.
So it was it is what it is. But like. And like I would match. I would like have a red mod with a gold atomizer, and I'd match it to my car and stuff like that. Like
that's awesome.
Stuff like that.
Someone in chat here, Rick Mason says, "Can non-US people take the survey?" Technically, no, because it goes by your IP address, and you need a US-based IP address in order to take it. However, if you have a VPN and you can route it to a US IP, then yeah, you can.
Yep, and you can get VPNs for free even in certain cases.
But there's millions of people. There's over 1 million vapors in the U.S. and we can't get 30,000.
We shouldn't need the help from the international community, right?
Exactly.
Like we appreciate it. We do. Don't get me wrong. And I think I erroneously the other night stated that this was the entire world. I was wrong. But we shouldn't need the help of the international community to help us out with this, but we do appreciate your assistance.
And I mean, there are even a couple of my buddies over there in the UK preaching to their subscribers, because they have, some in the US as well to do the survey. And I'm like, damn, you guys are UK based people advocating for America. And
well, consider this, right? Like if the American regulations were to become harsh enough, let's just give a what if, right? Let's just say America decided to ban a whole class of device, right? Let's say they banned, I don't know, dual 18650 box mods, right? No reason, but like essentially the market for those would disappear in this country, and those products would probably be harder to get in other countries, right? Just purely because the companies wouldn't be making as much money, right? And so then they would take certain products off the market and they wouldn't put other products on the market. And so it will ultimately affect everyone. You know, like I'm not trying to sit here and say that the United States is like the end all be all where it's gonna, you know, like affect everyone, and you know, like you guys have to like super care about what happens here, but you should, you know.
Well,
like,
it can set a dangerous precedent that
Absolutely.
starts the tidal wave that ripples through the world. So,
right.
you never know.
It's just better to be safe than sorry. Like always, just advocate as hard as you can to prevent something from happening, and if it does happen, then advocate to get it turned around. You know,
Yeah.
the fight will never be over. And that's
Yeah.
what people think. You know, people think, oh, it's the last day to take the survey. After this, free and easy. We did our part. We did our advocating. We're done. No, it's not like that.
We still have Cole Bishop in the pipes. There's going to be a lot, especially when they start introducing all kinds of flavor ban kind of things, and then label kind of stuff. And we have no idea what's coming down the pipeline, but you guarantee there's going to be a lot of fighting to do.
How's that Sandman going there?
Fucking terrible.
was yours covered in machine oil when you got it too, like Daniel's?
Dude, yeah, and I keep wiping the RDA, and black shit keeps coming off, and I had a bunch of people in the comments telling me, oh, it's machine oil, but it's not, man. I don't know what coating they put on there, but it just keeps shedding
on the RDA. Yeah, same here. Like the first time I like juiced it up and everything, I over dripped and I wiped the outside and it was black and I was like, ooh, that's kind of gross.
Yeah, mine just won't stop coming off. I stopped using it. The thing's fucking shit, man. It's garbage.
I tried so hard the other day to get it working properly, but I just couldn't. I'm going to do it one more time and then I'm just completely giving up on it.
Yeah, I tried a shitload of builds in that thing, like a ton, and like I went crazy with it, putting all kinds of different stuff. I tried doing a horizontal build. I tried all kinds of stuff, and nothing worked. They just released these caps. Did you see the insert that they released?
No, I have
the
not.
air blades. Yeah, it's like an Ultim piece that goes inside that basically takes up a bunch of the chamber and channels the air so that it gets like right next to the coil.
The way it should have been.
Right, which I've heard from Morton that he was like, well, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be, you know, or something like that. Like, you know, that like the chamber is supposed to be large so that it
right, because he designed a product that fucking blows. And the company doesn't want to sell a shitty product. They want to actually be able to sell it. So to fix his fuck up, they had to release those blades.
Unfortunate. I feel bad for Morton because I feel like he had such high hopes for it and like such a, you know, like he knows kind of what he's talking about, but I feel like it's just the way he vapes.
I think it's also a lot of pseudoscience that he goes through, like because
it's not science. You cannot use the word science when talking about Morton.
Right,
I felt bad for him before I even knew who he was, and then I started watching his videos, and I don't give a shit about him. He's so full of shit, man. His eyes are brown.
Well, you got a lot of people with a lot of different points of view, and I mean, from the looks of it, Atom Vapes is doing massive damage control at this point.
Oh God, yeah.
But I mean, personally, I haven't really heard of Atom Vapes other than their pre-made coils that they used to do back in the day. They used to have these gold coils, and they used to make them for a couple different tanks. I remember they had ones for what was that one from Horizon Tech? The Arctic tank.
Oh, I like the Arctic tank.
Yeah, those were really good. They had ones for Kanger and they had ones for the Atlantis. And they were pretty good coils. Like before Coil Art even got into the pre-made coil game, which I don't know if anyone remembers, but Coil Art used to make these pre-made coils. Yeah, like, dude, these are for Cledo, and these ones are just regular 0.5 Canthal, but they had Clapton coils, they had notch coils pre-made into Cledo tank coils, which is pretty intense.
Yeah,
and they ditched that whole idea to make tanks.
Yeah,
and like mods and stuff. But Yeah, the G Clapton coils. Red Fox said in the in chat. But they were pretty good. They were pretty good coils. But other than that, I've never seen them come out with any hardware until now.
Well, the way it was explained to me by Adam Vapes was there's some sort of subsidiary of VGod or something.
Yeah, because the switch design on the mod is the VGod switch. Like,
Right.
yeah.
I like that design. But implemented into this, it's just I thought I was gonna like this mod. I really did. I mean, I like the feel of it. It kind of copies that Dreamer cutout, you know, which I think is a phenomenal design. But it's so shitty. The Cerakote's coming off, and I haven't even really dropped this, but it's just peeling apart.
Well, it's probably just a powder coat. Like, it's probably nothing like actually super high. Well, clearly it's not durable, right?
Right. But it should have lasted more than a week.
Do you have the battery rattle issue or the gap that Daniel had?
No.
I don't either on mine.
No.
So clearly he got a bad unit on that one, but
I think we all got bad units. I don't think they made any good ones.
Right.
I feel bad for anyone that like pre-ordered because actually, who was it?
Fuck yeah. That's so shitty.
Someone said in chat, who did the pre-order? Oh yeah, Red Fox did. She said, I asked Adam Vapes for a refund 6 days ago and they haven't replied back. Good luck.
You might have to just go ahead and stop payment on that.
It's not going to be pretty.
Tell them you got defrauded. Call your credit card company.
It's not going to be pretty.
Like I bought a product that turned out to not be the product that I bought, you know, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Can I read you guys something that pretty much sums up Morton Owen?
Sure, why not?
Oh, Jesus.
All right, just give me a second.
I like watching his videos though for the ASMR factor.
Oh God, yeah. His voice, you know, like it's like he's like, welcome to Goblin Valley, Norway. I'm here, so you don't have to be. Like so gentle, and I'm like, ugh, it gets me.
Just like a warm cup of cocoa.
So Aziz wanted to come on and talk about his story.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here soon.
That's what I said. But you know, we'll get a chance to do this again. Well,
yeah, you know what? I already plan on doing this again for the comments period for the FDA. So we're gonna do this sort of thing again, basically just a push for advocacy and stuff. But go ahead, Kenny. You wanted to say something?
You know, I'm gonna
You're gonna leave it there.
I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna end it here. Any final thoughts, Demo?
Fill the damn survey out if you haven't done it. If you have, great, awesome. Do it again if you can. You know, I filled it out. This is the one I just did was the 7th time I filled it out. So, you know, and I know that's like a little bit, you know, the real science guys would say, well, that's skewing the results, and I'm like, I don't care. But you know, it's you know, either way, it's you know, go do it. If I can find the time in my day to do this 7 times, you can do it once. You know, like it doesn't take that long. I did it again while we were streaming today. While everyone else was talking, I was just over here, click, 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 click. You know, like.
Bottom line is, you shouldn't have to do that, though, Demo.
No, you shouldn't. No, none of us. We shouldn't have to sit up here and ask for people to do advocacy, right?
Beg, essentially.
Very, very, very frustrating. But you know, we live in a world of apathy, and you know, it's the world of and someone else will do that for me, and it's just it's just a whole hell of a lot of things going on with our society and whatnot. So. I don't want to turn into old man Demo over here, like these damn kids in there, you know, like or anything like that. Well, right, it's already happened, but you know, either way, just go do it. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Nick, for having me for this, and you know, yeah, keep on keeping. I was about to say keep on vaping, and I was like, that's not my thing. You know,
yeah, guys, let's keep on vaping.
Why? Whose thing is that?
Oh yeah, you know.
Go ahead.
There are several. Well, that particular one is Grim Green.
Knee pads. All right.
Get off my lawn.
Kenny, you want to say anything?
Just go do it, guys. That's it. I'm gonna say save the fire and brimstone from a later time, but yeah, get off your ass and just fucking do it already.
I mean, yeah, what more can you say?
Yeah.
And
So,
do the
yeah.
comment period. Go do the comment period. You can do it once a day. You know, do it once, do it twice, do it as many times. Do it
I
every
thought-
day. You know.
I mean, how long did it? It didn't take that long.
No, the survey
fill it
took me
out.
survey took me 10 minutes, and I was in the middle of streaming with you guys.
Yeah, like 10 to 15 minutes for the survey. And the comments period, I've actually heard we only have like 6,000 responses, 6,000 comments submitted to the FDA right now. And that is even more ridiculous.
That's in total. Who'd you get that number from?
I just saw a screenshot of it today. A buddy of mine posted it in his group. I'm gonna have to double check on that myself if I can get the actual like link to check on it for myself. But
Yeah, that seems low considering there's going to be a lot of anti-vapors filling that out as well.
And I've seen some of those comments.
well, we gotta just keep pushing the link out then. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the next thing on the list. So as
Yeah,
soon
we
as I
have
get
to
back
keep
from
fighting.
when I get back from Expo, that's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna talk about is
Where are you
comments
going?
period. Expo at the end of the week, I'm going to Birmingham, UK.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's
So-
awesome.
And then I think I'm going to be going to Alabama 2 weeks after that. So I'm going to be pretty busy.
Damn. That's awesome. Hey, do you have a device coming out? Is that what I heard?
Maybe. I mean, nothing's confirmed. We're still like in development and talks and stuff, but
Cool.
I think by the end of the year I'll have my device out, whatever it may be.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
So
Let the speculations begin.
oh yeah, these guys in the Vape Stew Discord are grilling me about it, but I'm not giving any more information out there
Trying
than
really hard to get
Yeah.
like blah and be, oh no, you know, and say something that he shouldn't.
There you go. But all right, guys, we're gonna end it there. I'm probably gonna be popping over on the Discord server, so if anyone wants to join me there,
I'll be over there.
Stan, if you would care to post the link to the Vape Stew group on Facebook, that's how they can get into the Discord server. So if you could post that, that'd be awesome.
I never get invited to Vape Stew anymore. You guys
You
don't
can be
like
on
me.
anytime you
It's an
want.
open invite, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty much like you got to tell us, be like, hey, man, you got an open slot, and we'll just bring you in.
Previous guests are always welcome back,
Of
What's
course.
today?
unless we say you're not to.
What do you guys? When do you guys do it? Fridays?
Yeah.
Fridays at 9 Central. You should get on Discord if you haven't checked that out, because that is a pretty sweet platform, actually.
I've actually never used Discord, so I'll have to figure it out. I know Louie's on Discord.
It's just basically a upgraded AOL chat room, you know, for
Cool.
designed for gaming and for other things. We've got a voice room, so you can go in there and chat with people, like talk with people.
Oh, that's cool.
In addition to that, there's an actual chat where I think most of the action happens, where people send pictures and messages and stuff like that. And it's good. It's free and it's
It's a lot of fun. You just pop in, chat, and pop out. And if there's a voice call or a video call going on, you jump into that. It's a lot of fun. It's
The
good times.
Discord. I'm gonna put the Discord link. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the Discord link real quick before we sign out. 1 second.
I mean, technically, it's for the fans of the Vape Stew show, but
the Vape Stew crew.
link, there's a lot of
but it's
people.
okay.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of stooges right now in chat. So, but yeah, that's it from us, guys. We're gonna sign out. So see you all later. I don't know how to end this thing, so I'm just gonna blow vape at the camera. Ready?
Yeah, go do it. Blow a big one. Did it work? Yeah. Did you end it?